सर शो हो रही थी स्लाइड।
जी जी, स्लाइड शो हो रही थी। आप अपना प्रेजेंट करो।
हाँ ठीक है सर।
मैक्सिमाइज कर दो जरा।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed and today I've been given an opportunity to talk about halal standards and regulations. Let's take a brief look at today's contents. We start with introduction, Quran and Hadith, important terminologies, haram foods, halal and haram meat, conditions for halal slaughtering, zabiha method, prohibitions, automation in slaughtering, halal certificate, process for the certification, and halal logos. Islam has set boundaries for a Muslim which he or she must stay in, and rules they must abide by. Keeping that in mind, halal is a broad term which can be applied to many aspects of life. Halal means what is allowed or what is permissible. For example, what is allowed to wear, what is allowed to do, making money through a permissible source. From social life to personal life, these rules come up in every Muslim's life. But most commonly, halal is used to refer to food, what is halal to eat. And if it is meat, not only where does the meat come from, but also how we get that meat. And today, we'll discuss all of that. The importance of halal is right there in Quran when Allah said, "O man, eat of what is on earth lawful and wholesome, and follow not for verily he is an open enemy to you." Surah Al-Baqarah. And Surah Al-Anab, Allah Ta'ala says that, "So eat of what of that meat upon which Allah's name has been mentioned, if you are believers in his verses." Meaning eating anything that is not considered halal is equivalent of going on Satan's path. Similarly, Hazrat Abu Bakr said that Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said that that body will not enter paradise which has been nourished with haram. Now let's start our topic properly with some important terminologies that we repeat throughout this session. As stated before, halal means the things and the acts and the food, etc., which are permissible to do. Haram is the opposite of halal, meaning the things that are prohibited. Doing or consuming such acts and items respectively is considered as sin and is punishable either in this life or afterlife. For example, murder is haram and alcohol is haram. Mashbu is an important term that is exclusive to diet. Mashbu are the things that are doubtful and meaning one does not know whether it is halal or haram. Such things are better to be avoided. Most troubling causes are the raw ingredients and food additives that are mashbu in nature and raise the suspicion, such as riboflavin. We will learn later how to avoid these ingredients. Makruh can be confused with mashbu, but makruh means the things that are just inappropriate in Islam, either actions or food. These things are not haram and are not punishable, but since these things are disliked in Islam, it is encouraged and considered virtuous to refrain from them. In terms of actions such as nail biting or swearing, or in terms of food, prawns and crabs are considered makruh. Najis. Like mashbu was an exclusive dietary term, najis is an exclusive sanitary term. Najis are the things that are obviously not allowed to. Najis are the things that are dirty and repulsive and are obviously not allowed to consume. For example, urine, blood, and excreta, etc. If a halal food comes in contact with a najis thing, say urine, it will also become najis and is not allowed to eat. On that note, let's talk about haram foods or the foods that are not allowed to be consumed. The most important are pork, alcohol, and blood, which are specifically mentioned in Quran. In addition to that, animals that are slaughtered in name other than Allah and dead animals are the animals that are considered from haram from the start. So the products that are obtained from from haram animals are also considered as haram. For example, gelatin. Furthermore, tobacco or any other things that cause intoxication, such as pan or euphoric drugs such as opium or heroin, are also considered as haram. Anything that is considered toxic to health is not allowed in Islam because Islam only wants the best for us. If we are living in a foreign country and we want to avoid haram or mashbu edible products, we can look at the e-codes, usually on the back side of the packaging. E-codes are the code substitute for the name of an emulsifier or the food additive, and a quick internet research can tell us about if an ingredient is a halal, haram, or mashbu. Halal meat. One of the most important standards for halal meat is whether that the animal is halal or not. Following are halal animals to eat. Birds which have straight beaks and peck their foods and do not use their claws to grab. For example, chickens, turkeys, sparrows, and pigeons, etc. Herbivores which are two-toed, for example, goats, cows, and sheep, etc. Aquatic animals that cannot survive on land. This will include many types of fishes such as sardines, trout, salmon, catfishes, etc. Haram meat. Pork and dead animals are obviously haram. In addition to that, single-toed herbivores like horses and donkeys, birds that use claws to grab their food, such as parrots, monkeys, carnivorous animals like cats, dogs, crows, and sharks, amphibians, reptiles, and rodents, and finally the animals that are slaughtered in name other than Allah, because this will be approaching shirk territory. In addition to what meat we are eating, it is also important to how we get that meat. Animal that has to be slaughtered in a certain way. The slaughterer should be a Muslim and an adult who understands the rules of slaughtering. The animal itself should be, of course, halal and alive, but also preferentially healthy. The tools should be sharpened, preferably not in front of animal and beforehand, and should be cleaned so animal does not suffer a lot and cross-contamination does not occur. The intention or the niyyah should be that the animal is offered in name of Allah and only Allah. And while slaughtering, the spinal cord should stay intact, because if spinal cord is cut, it will affect the pumping of heart. If pumping of heart is insufficient, the breathing won't be sufficient. The prescribed method of halal slaughtering is known as the Zabiha method. Before we start making the cut, Allah's name, such as Allahu Akbar or Tasmiyah, Bismillah, must be recited. The parts that should be cut include trachea, esophagus, carotid arteries, and jugular veins. As stated before, the spinal cord should not be cut and head should stay intact. This picture shows the Zabiha method. The important parts are being cut. Notice how the position of knife is just below the trachea. The cut should be a single sweep action. I have talked about the things that should be done according to halal standards, but here are the things that should be avoided. Halal meat should not be stored with haram meat. In Malaysia, food companies are shut down if they store haram and halal meat together. Similarly, the equipments that are used for halal slaughtering should not come in contact with haram meat as well as najis things. The packaging materials is sometimes made from dead animals' intestines and skins and organs of pigs. These packaging materials must be avoided. Finally, the animal should not be slaughtered inhumanely. For example, animal that is killed by the beating it to death or injuring it is prohibited. The basic criteria of halal slaughtering is that the animal should be alive, slaughtered humanely, and in name of Allah. As the world moves towards the automation, the question arises that does this automation meet the criteria of Islam? Most scholars agree that it does. For example, in poultry slaughtering, birds are alive and required parts are cut smoothly and a person stands and recites the tasmiyah. However, some scholars do argue that slaughtering should be manual. The topic of stunning, however, is very controversial and divisive. In fact, most scholars argue against it because they say that the animal should be conscious. Furthermore, the animals can die during stunning, so stunning should be prohibited. However, recently several halal food authorities have permitted the use of stunning, granted that stunning is non-fatal. For example, Malaysian Halal Food Council allowed this as halal, as well as British Halal Food Authority. The declared method of stunning is only electrical stunning and not gas stunning. All of this leads to halal certificate. Halal is the ultimate level of quality standard which a Muslim must achieve, so it is important for Muslims to buy halal products. This is why halal certificate is important for food companies. And in addition to that, since the demand of halal product is so high and so global, this gives rise to halal industry, and thus a food company benefits from exporting halal products. To give this halal certificate to a company, there are certification bodies. Following are the certification bodies in Pakistan: Punjab Halal Development Agency, International Halal Certification, Certification Services Pakistan, Renaissance Inspection and Certification Agency, and PNAC, Punjab National Accreditation Council, which was also the first accreditation body in Pakistan. We will now discuss how a food company gets a certificate. Here's a general skeleton of the process. We start with an application to the certification body. They will evaluate our provided documents, and then they will send auditors and to evaluate and examine our food company. These auditors will make an evaluation report, and if it does get approved, we will get our certificate. Let's discuss in detail. The client or the food company sends an application to the certification organization or the certification body. This application is usually available on the website of the organization. After receiving the application, the food company is set to provide documents to the certification body, giving the details of SOPs, products used, processes used, raw materials, and other sanitary practices. These documents are evaluated to see if they meet the required standards. Then there is on-site evaluation by the hands of auditors. The auditors will check the raw materials and the products. The samples will be taken to laboratory for further investigation. Cleaning and sanitation will be observed, as well as packaging, labeling, storage, and transportation processes. The auditors will then develop an evaluation report. This report will be reviewed by the inspection committee. If the committee is satisfied with the entire procedures, halal certificate will be issued to the applicant. After the certificate has been issued, this halal certification body will conduct a post-certification monitoring, the post-certification surveillance to the company to oversee and regulate the already agreed terms and conditions to see if the food company is still working on the halal standards or not. Halal certificate is valid for 3 years. If a company wants the reissuance of the certificate, then the renewal application must be sent 1 month before the expiration of the previous one. When a food company receives its certificate, the product will be marked by a halal logo. Here are a bunch of halal logos from all around the world. Notice the common motif of being halal written in Arabic or in English, and a lot of them have green color and a crescent mark on them. This allows a Muslim to distinguish a halal product from haram product. Here are the references used. Of course, there were more, but a lot of them were repeating the same things. And thank you for your attention. If you have any question, ask away.
सर ये अहमद ये अपनी ना रिकॉर्डिंग जरा ऑफ कर दे अभी
Okay, sir.